Hi, welcome to my channel. I thought I'd share with you my top Disneyland Paris tips. I just got back from Disney and I did a lot of research in advance to really understand how everything works and make the most out of it. I always like to be super prepared and over-organized, so these are the things that I found most valuable knowing and really helped us have the best time. If you want to see what we got up to on our trip, I will link the vlogs below. I did daily vlogs and so you can check out what we got up to. So anyway, here are my top tips for Disneyland Paris. Number 1, download the official Disneyland app. So you can download this app on your phone before you go, and this has all the information you'll need. It has all the times, opening times, closing times, parade times, show times. It has a map of the whole park so you can find your way around. It has queue times so you can zoom in and see how many minutes you'll be waiting for each ride. And then it gives you information like what rides are closed that day or what characters are on the meet and greets. I actually downloaded this app ahead of time. As I said, I like to be over prepared. So I would check like every day, kind of see a pattern, see when the rides are the most busy and when's a good time to do this. Yeah, that really helped me. And throughout the year, there's always different opening and closing times of the park and different times for parades and fireworks. So it's really valuable to have this app so you don't miss anything. Number 2, stay in a Disney hotel. So when you stay in an official Disney hotel, you get certain perks. And I'll go through those perks later, but right now I'll just explain the different hotels. So the first hotel I'll talk about is Disneyland Hotel. This is like the best hotel. It's amazing. It's practically in the park. It's right at the gates, so you can easily walk to your hotel room whenever you want to take a break. It's the only 5-star hotel, so really nice hotel. The next hotels are the Art of Marvel and Newport Bay, and they're both 4-star and they're both quite similar, and they're on opposite sides of the lake. And the Art of Marvel used to be Hotel New York, so it's actually brand new, and that's obviously Marvel superhero themed, and Newport Bay is maritime themed. And then there is Sequoia Lodge, which is that little bit further. It's on kind of the further part of the lake, and it is a 3-star hotel, and it's kind of forest, woodland themed, and they'd all be, I'd say Marvel and Newport would be maybe a 10-minute walk to the parks. Sequoia Lodge, just a few more minutes extra. And then a little bit further out is Santa Fe and Hotel Cheyenne, and they're both 2-star, and I think Santa Fe is Cars themed and Cheyenne is Toy Story themed. They're all amazing hotels, and they're all within walking distance and offer free shuttles. So those 6 hotels are the official Disney hotels, and then there's 2 more hotels that are part of Disney Nature Resort, and they are Davy Crockett Ranch and Disney's Village Nature Paris. So those 2, they don't have all the same perks that the 6 official Disney hotels do. They do have some perks, and as I said, I'll go through those in a minute, but one thing to note is that there's no shuttle bus with those, so you have to take a car, and I think it's like a 15-minute drive or something, so it's that a little bit further out. So moving on to my next tip is the one perk that you get with all of those 8 hotels, and it's the best perk, and it really makes staying in a Disney hotel so worth it, even if it is a little bit more expensive, and that is number 3, magic hours. So magic hours is basically hours that you get into the park before it opens to the public, and only guests staying in Disney hotels can get in. So times vary throughout the year depending on what time the park opens at, but for us, we went in late January. The park opens at 10 a.m. and we got in at 8:30 a.m. So we had an hour and a half of just doing all these rides and getting as much of the popular attractions done before the surge of the public come in. If you do the popular rides during the magic hours, then you really save yourself from a lot of queuing for the rest of the day. I should mention that not every ride and attraction is open during magic hours. It's a select few, but on your app you can see what's open, what time it's open, and is it part of magic hours. And then another perk of staying in a Disney hotel is tip number 4, meal plans. So meal plans are basically, you get vouchers for dining. So half board is you get breakfast in your hotel and a voucher for lunch or dinner in one of the restaurants in the park, and full board is breakfast in your hotel and then 2 vouchers, and they're valid in Disneyland Park and Disney Studios and Disney Village. And there's also different levels of meal plans. So there's standard, plus, and premium, and that also depends on what hotel you're staying in. So I'm going to put a link in the description below outlining exactly how these meal plans work and what restaurants accept what, and it's too confusing to go into in a vlog, but I'll link it below if you want to just check it out and see what way it works. So meal plans are a great way to budget ahead of time, and you don't have to worry about how much you're spending while you're there. You can get these meal plans with any of the Disney hotels you're staying in except Village Nature Paris, and that's the only one that you can't get meal plans with, but all the other ones, all the other hotels offer it. Number 5, book dining ahead of time. Whether or not you have a meal plan, it is so important to book your dining ahead of time. You'd be very lucky if you were walking through the park, deciding to try a restaurant and walking in without a reservation and actually getting a table, because usually popular restaurants book out months in advance. So unless you're just happy doing cafe or counter service, if you want one of the sit down restaurants, you really have to book it in advance. And there are 2 ways to book it. You can either call a number and do it over the phone, or you can do an online reservation form. I'll put the details for those again in the description below. Number 6, how to meet characters. One of the biggest things in Disneyland Paris is people always want to meet a character, whether it's Mickey Mouse or Elsa or whoever. So you could just take a chance and walk around the park and hopefully you bump into one, but chances aren't good for that. So there are 3 ways to meet a character in Disneyland Paris. The first way is the Line Bertie app. And this is an app that you can download on your phone. And every morning, I think at 9:45 a.m., slots open. And you can go on and try and get a slot for whatever character you want to meet. And then at that time, you go to where you're supposed to meet them and it takes the queuing away. But I have heard that it's really difficult to even get a slot. Like if you're a minute late signing in, that's it, they're all gone. So you really have to be quick on the Line Bertie app. The second way is queuing for meets and greets. There are characters that you can meet without using Line Bertie. Princess Pavilion, Meet Mickey Mouse, meet Darth Vader at Starport. There's a few others, and again on your main Disneyland app it'll say what meet and greets there are that day and where they're on, but there's usually really long queues involved. I think the Princess Pavilion is average like a 90-minute wait. And then the third way is character dining. So some restaurants offer the option to have your meal with characters. They're milling around at the restaurant. They'll come over to your table and greet you and interact with you. You can get photos with them. And this is what we did, and this is what I'd recommend. We had dinner in Inventions, and there we met Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Goofy, Geppetto, Tigger. Another tip is that we timed it for the firework display, and we asked for a window seat. So while we were meeting all these characters, we were watching the firework display, and it was just amazing. It is expensive, but if you do want to definitely meet a character and not have to do the hassle involved, then this is a great way to meet the characters. Number 7, the Fast Pass. So the Fast Pass is a way to skip the long queues on certain rides. On your park ticket, everyone has a Fast Pass. It's a free thing. Basically, you go to a ride, and if the queue is like 2 hours long, you can go up to a Fast Pass machine, scan your ticket, and it will give you a time to return. And then you can go off and do whatever, and then you come back at the time given to you, and there's the Fast Pass queue, which is a lot shorter than the main queue. So you can only use one Fast Pass per ride, so you can't go around to all the rides getting Fast Pass tickets for all of them. You can only do one at a time. So that's one thing to note, unless you buy a super Fast Pass or an ultimate Fast Pass, and they are extras where you don't have to take a ticket and return. You can walk right on. So you can buy Fast Passes that offer a little bit more than just the free one on your park ticket. Another thing to note, not every ride has Fast Pass. So again, on your Disneyland app you can see what rides do have Fast Pass, where you can use this system. Number 8, the Photo Pass. A photo pass is an extra thing that you can buy. Basically, if you have a photo pass, you can download all the photos taken at all of the meet and greets, any rides you go on, any attractions. Anytime you get a photo taken, you can download it. To be honest, when I went, I didn't really consider a photo pass. I think it was €75 or something. I think if you get it ahead of time as part of your package, you might get a better rate. But I think in the park itself, it's €75, and I just kind of felt it's not worth it for a few photos. But I kind of regret not getting it, because once you start buying a few photos, it really adds up, and then you're kind of thinking, well, if I just spent a little bit more, I would have gotten all the photos. So it can be worth it, depending on if you want the professional photos or not. Number 9, when to go. One thing to bear in mind when you're booking Disneyland Paris is choosing the right time to go. I went at the end of January, and a lot of people were warning me against it. They were saying it's raining, it's going to be freezing, it'll be terrible. But I went and it was absolutely fine. I brought thermals, and I brought, you know, hot hand warmers and all that stuff. Didn't need any of it. It wasn't that cold. It rained a little bit, but I felt like I'd take a little bit of rain and hardly any queues, because that time of year it's empty. Whereas if you go in summer, you get amazing weather but really long queues. So you just have to weigh up what you'd prefer. And another thing to keep in mind is obviously it's going to be the quietest midweek during school term. And one thing, before you book, make sure you look up French holidays and French school term times, because they're going to be different everywhere else in the world. And it would just be terrible if you went thinking you were choosing a really quiet time, but actually it's going to be crazy busy because that is their holiday time. So just make sure you check that. Number 10, transport from the airport. This is another thing that I did a lot of research about, because obviously I wanted to get a way that was convenient and also didn't cost too much. There are 3 airports in Paris, and the best one for Disneyland Paris is Charles de Gaulle. So that is the closest, it's got the best transport links. And then if you're coming from Charles de Gaulle, there are 3 different modes of transport to get to Disneyland Paris. So first of all, there's the train, and the train is definitely the fastest. It's only 15 minutes from the airport to Disneyland Park. And the only thing is that the wait times vary. You could be waiting 90 minutes for a train at some point. I think the average is 30 minutes. But you could time it perfectly that you walk right on, there's the train right there, you're there in 15 minutes. But bear in mind, you could be waiting a long time. And the cost of that for an average family of 4 is €92. And the next mode of transport is the Magic Shuttle Bus. And this is a shuttle bus that brings you from the airport to Disneyland to, I think it stops at every hotel and the park. Again, same with the train, there could be long wait times. You could be waiting, I think it goes average every half hour. And then when you're on it, it takes a little bit longer because obviously it has a lot of stops. It stops at every hotel and people getting their bags off and everything. So you could be waiting well. It's probably the longest journey out of the 3, and the average price for that is €132. Again, for a family of 4, that would be €132. And then the third option is a private transfer, and this is definitely the most convenient. When you come into arrivals, your driver is there waiting with a plaque with your name on it, and he brings you straight to the car and brings you straight to your hotel or the park, wherever you're going. What we paid for our transfer was €125, and as I said, I did a lot of research, and 125 was the best that I saw. I will link who we went with again in the description below if you want to see who we chose. So they are the 3 different ways to get from the airport to Disneyland Paris. So that's it. They are my top 10 tips for Disneyland Paris. I'm going to do more vlogs on tips for budgeting in Disneyland and tips for traveling there with toddlers. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.